Welcome to Bussing, Mommy, and LollieTasking. I am your host, Dr. Lola Day, a wife, mom of three, physician, entrepreneur, and also a productivity and work-life strategist. I invite you to join me and other amazing women as we chat about our passion, work, businesses, other topics, and how we seem to have it all together, balancing motherhood and work. I hope by the end of this conversation, you realize you can do it too. With some planning, a little bit of balance, and a dash of determination. This is LollieTasking. Welcome to another inspiring episode of LollieTasking. As you guys know, I am your host, Dr. Lola Day, and on today's show, we have the fantastic, the amazing, the wonderful, the eyelash queen herself, Dr. Anika Goodwin Hilderbrand of OpulenceMD. Dr. Anika is a board-certified ophthalmologist. For those of you guys that don't know, that's an eye surgeon, y'all, okay? A vision advocate, an eye beauty expert, and she is the founder of OpulenceMD Beauty, Yeah, I'm getting too excited here. The first eye-specific beauty brand and the only, did y'all hear that? Only beauty brand created by an eye surgeon. She married her purpose with her passion by using proceeds from the brand to cover screening eye exam for diabetic patients. Can I just stop right there? We talk about purpose all the time. At high risk for vision loss due to diabetes, she is married and has two beautiful daughters. Oh my gosh, it is such a pleasure to welcome you, Dr. Anika, to the show.
Thank you for having me, Lola Day. I am so happy to be here. And you guys weren't on yet, but we were having the most amazing conversation. So it just whet my appetite for what's about to come. So I think you're in for a treat.
I was so excited because we LollieTaskers, most of us are moms or business entrepreneurs. We're just trying to live life and stick that vision. Like our goal here is we can be a boss and be a mom. You don't have to choose.
Yes.
You know, you can do both. And we do it very well, okay?
Yes, we do.
All right. So I just want you to just tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, how were you growing up? And how did you get that first inkling of entrepreneurship? Just kind of your whole story. It's a journey to your purpose. So how did everything start?
Absolutely. So I knew I wanted to be a physician from the time I can remember. I don't remember ever saying I wanted to be anything else. And I did not know what kind of physician I wanted to be. People would ask, and I didn't know. I just knew I wanted to be a doctor. I didn't have any doctors in my family, but it's so funny how we're shaped to our purpose. I was always a fixer. I thought I could fix anything with tape. If something was broken, if something wasn't working the way it should, I'm like, let me tinker with it. Let me play with it. Not realizing at that point in time that later on I'd become a surgeon. I'd become a tinkerer and a fixer and all those things. And so it's funny how you look back on your life and you see everything coming into shape. But that was absolutely who I was. I've always been driven. I've always wanted to be the best that I could absolutely be. And so I worked really hard in school, always got good grades. And so it was one of those things where when I said I wanted to be a doctor, people automatically just assumed I was going to be a doctor. Yeah. And I think that not ever feeling like I couldn't do it helped me do it. And so that's why it's so important to always pour into your children and let them know when they say they want to be an astronaut, don't look surprised. Say, absolutely, you can do that. I think that was a huge part of me never feeling like this was something I couldn't do. And so that's what got me to today, is just always knowing what I wanted to do, putting in the work to do it, and allowing people to support me on that journey.
That is so fantastic. One of the things you talked about was how you were always a fixer. And a lot of times when I talk to moms and they're like, I just don't know what my purpose is. We talked about earlier, I'm like a black and white. Like I don't have this elusive way of doing things. I'm like, what's your talent? What's your passion? Can you get paid for it?
Amen. Amen. And you know what I like to ask people, because sometimes it's hard to look inside ourselves and see our talents. I usually ask people, what is it that other people come to you for?
I like
And if you don't know that, ask your friends. Say, what is it that you come to me for? I asked that question a few years back, and one of the things that people said they would come to me for was beauty, skincare, those kind of things. And look at what I'm doing right now. So if you're not sure and you're not introspective enough, or maybe you just don't stop and take a record of the things that you do really well, then ask other people, because they absolutely notice.
I totally agree with that. And I would even add to that, like, ask your family,
Yes.
ask your friends,
Yes.
ask your colleagues, because you would be so shocked. I actually went through that. And the number one people said, like, yeah, if I want to fix my life, I'll always come to you. And I was like, that's it. I'll be a strategist. That's my thing. Lola fixed my life.
Yes, I think that's a great strategy, because whatever it is so innate to you, you don't even notice it. That's just who you are. And so when someone else points it out, it makes it real, and you start to see the value in it, because for you, it's just natural.
That is fantastic. So you were an eye surgeon, and I believe you had graduated in 2006. So you've been an eye surgeon for a while now, right?
I finished my fellowship in 2006.
Oh, fellowship. Excuse me, ma'am.
I graduated.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Here, listen, watch me date myself. I graduated from medical school in 2001.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yes, I have been at this for
19 years.
quite some time. Yes, I've been at this for quite some time. This is not, this career change is not because I'm burnt out, not because I don't absolutely love what I do, not because I'm not passionate about what I do anymore. It's totally because I'm passionate about other things. And so since, I'm in my mid 40s, if I don't start doing it now, when am I going to start doing it? So
exactly. So that leads me to the next question I have, actually. So when was that time you realized that, okay, I love what I'm doing, but like, how did OpulenceMD come about? Tell us about the journey of how you went from being, because you were a physician, but you were also you were an entrepreneur in the physician sphere too, because you had emergency.
That's exactly right.
How do you go from that to, let me do this beauty brand? Like, it's so amazing. But I just want people, I know the story, but I want people to hear from you.
So again, other people see your value. I'm a Delta, and one of my line sisters, one of her passions is pouring into Black female entrepreneurs. And so she had a pitch contest in Atlanta. This was in 2016 or 2017. And I was trying to support her and asking her, what can I do? What can I help you with? And one of my other line sisters said, Anika, you should enter the pitch contest. And I'm like, really? Like, why would I do that? And she said, you should enter the pitch contest. You always have great ideas. You should think about doing it. And so I started looking around. I was like, I do have pretty good ideas. A lot of ideas I've come up with, I've later seen come to market. So I said, okay, I'm going to enter. And I didn't even enter with an idea that was pre-existing. I entered with a newer idea that I had just came up with when I was seeing a patient one day. And so entered the pitch contest, pitched, didn't win anything in that pitch contest. But after the pitch contest, so many people from the audience came to me and said, your pitch was amazing. Your idea is amazing. I would love to see that product. I thought it was, and again, it was more scientific based. A lot of my ideas are based on clinical things that I see or science, because that's my background. Right. So it just kind of stuck with me, and iEmergencyMD was an idea I had in the back of my mind, and it was one of those things, those ideas you have where it's so big, you're like, somebody's going to do that, and you never think that you're the somebody.
You're the
waiting
person.
Yes, because it's too big. And so after that, it really gave me the confidence, I guess, to be the somebody who brings things to life. And so that's really how this whole entrepreneurial journey started for me. And my line sister, who's so supportive, just marvels at my journey now. And I always remind her, I'm like, this started, you lit this fire.
I would agree that she lit this fire, but you know who even lit it before she did? Your service. You
Right,
just wanted to serve her.
right,
And I
right,
tell people, the universe, God, whoever you serve, He looks at all those things.
right. You're
And
right.
if you had not gone there to help her that day, maybe you may have gotten the bug another way, but the combination of you being in that particular place with those
Mm-hmm.
particular people pouring into you, and I'm
Yes.
pretty sure it wasn't OpulenceMD you pitched, right? It was something totally different.
Totally different. It was called
Totally.
Tick Stick. And and it still doesn't exist. So the idea that I pitched was a substance that you could roll onto your skin. I live in the South. And so if you've been outside in the summertime, one of the common things that we do is check our children, check our pets for ticks. Well, this was a spray on or roll on substance that would cause tick saliva, the proteins in tick saliva, to illuminate so that you could see the areas that needed to be checked more closely. Pretty cool, right? Still doesn't
Trademark,
exist.
trademark, trademark, y'all, trademark. She said it first.
Yes, and people loved, they went wild over the idea, but that was the idea I had. Still haven't brought it to market or anything because it takes a lot of bench time to isolate those proteins, figure out what will be attracted to. So, I mean, this actually is science. It takes a lot of science, and I just haven't had the money to pay someone to go into the lab to do it.
Yeah. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I could totally see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you go from, okay, so you got the bug, the entrepreneur bug. We all have that one time where we got the bug. And then how did you go from there to where we are now?
Problem solving totally. So I am totally a girly girl, 100%. I don't wear a lot of makeup, but the things that I wear, I swear by. And one of those things is lashes. So lashes and lipstick. I, as an ophthalmologist, and you know this very well, as a cardiologist, we are in white, male-dominated fields. And so when we walk into the room, we are the nurse or we are some other thing, the scrub tech or whatever
Everything
it
but who
is.
you are.
Everything but who we are. And so I decided when I did my residency in New York, I decided when I started my residency, when I walked into the room, they were going to know exactly who I was. And so I always dressed the part, my lashes, my lipstick, I always look like I came meaning business. And so I just really kind of got used to seeing myself in lashes. And in New York, it was easy to find people to do my lashes. I did my fellowship in Detroit, easy to find people to do my lashes. And then after moving around, I always found someone to do my lashes. Well, fast forward to a couple of years ago, and I started doing locums. So no, I was no longer just in one spot. And I was moving around. I was gone for a week or so at a time, and it was very difficult for me to keep my lash extension appointments because I needed to get my lashes filled in about every 2 to 3 weeks. And I was one who'd make my appointments 3 or 4 at a time, making sure I always had an appointment. I ran out of time to do that, and I had to let my lashes go because I just didn't have time anymore. And when I let my lashes go, please don't boo and hiss, because yes, I am an eye surgeon, but I realized how much damage I had done to my lashes over the years. It was so in front of my face. I could no longer kind of tell myself, oh, they're okay. No, they weren't okay. My lashes needed CPR. So
We need to revive this.
it was bad. It was bad. And so not only did I lose kind of my lash extensions, which were kind of like part of my superhero cape, but my natural lashes weren't even in a state that I could just put mascara on. And so I had to figure out a way that I could have my lashes and not need the appointments for fill-ins, how I could do it myself on my own time. And so magnetic lashes were already out there. I went, found some, tried them on, and they felt so heavy. They were just so uncomfortable. And yeah, thick and heavy. They weren't styles that, because I always wore my lashes relatively natural. And so they didn't fit. They didn't fit my style. They didn't fit the style that I wanted to portray to my patients. And so I started tinkering, again, problem solving. I started tinkering with the lash extensions and trying to create a lash extension that was more comfortable and more me. And got something, but still wasn't what I wanted. I had at that point a couple of other docs and I had started a little podcast. And during that podcast, I kind of had gotten into wanting to learn more about business because podcasting is also a business. And so I went to a business conference and at this business conference,
that's going to be my next question.
Yes. At this business conference, I went to the VIP day to start with, and one of the first things that was said at this VIP day was that the current mastermind had collectively, a group of about 42 entrepreneurs, generated about $24 million in 1 year. And I looked exactly like you just looked, and I said to myself, sitting right there, I want in. So I knew from that moment when he said that, I want to be a part of this mastermind. If I'm going to be an entrepreneur, I'm doing it like I've done everything else in my life. Yep. All the way. I'm going all in. And so at that conference, when he opened up the mastermind, I joined. And again, everything in alignment. One of the entrepreneurs in that mastermind who won an award for what she'd accomplished in her business was someone.
Question. Before you joined the mastermind, did you already have the product?
No, I had nothing.
Talk about faith. Yes, go ahead. I'm listening. Let me sit very well.
I determined I was going to join. One of the people in the mastermind who won an award for her business, she helped people build beauty brands. I literally wrote her name down in my book, and I said, when I join, she's going to be one of the first people I connected with. I joined the last week of June. I called her. This was in 2019. I called her the first week of July 2019. We started working on my brand July of 2019. I launched this brand in February of 2020, February the 14th, when the pandemic hit.
Nice.
And I crossed the 7-figure mark in November. That's when you know you're where you're supposed to be. Mm-hmm.
So, guys, remember in the beginning, we said when you know your purpose, usually is vision, talent, okay? And you have to have the passion for it. She went into something, she loved beauty. She already had the passion for it. I bet in the beginning, researching all this stuff was fun for you. It didn't feel like work.
Product creation is so much fun for me. It is like chemistry, and it is like seeing the results on your skin or on your face. It is the most amazing thing. I get so excited about product creation. That's my gift. And another thing that I want to tell entrepreneurs is there's so many aspects to business. You're probably not going to be good at all of them. So what I do is I work in my gift, and I bring on team members to work in their gifts, and those things work together to make a successful business and a successful brand.
That is awesome. And I think that's one thing a lot of entrepreneurs have a challenge with, right? Because you hear all the stories that I worked on everything. I was a solopreneur. It's a badge of honor, right?
It is not.
It's not. There's some people, and I tell people this all the time. I'm not ashamed to say I have an amazing virtual assistant, right? I am talking to Dr. Anika right now, but you best believe I'm not going to upload this stuff. It's going to be my virtual assistant. It's not in my zone of genius, right? And she's actually off this week, and I had to send some emails maybe a little bit later than typical. But guess what? She is on point. She knows that part of her job very well.
Right.
If you can invest in someone helping you, please do it.
It's interesting you say that. I have a story, and then I have a point to make. My story is right after I launched, I was trying to create a YouTube channel, and I spent 4 hours trying to figure out how to create a thumbnail for my subscribe button on my YouTube channel. And I was too stubborn to give up, even though I was frustrated. So when I finally got it, and I looked at the
medical.
Yes! And I said to myself, Anika, You just spent 4 hours on something that you could have gotten on Fiverr in about 10 minutes. And at that moment, I said, I will not do this again because my time is more valuable than that to me. And so it was at that moment that I decided things like that, I'm going to outsource. 100% I'm going to outsource. And I honestly believe that that has allowed me to get as far as I have, as quickly as I have. And the point I want to make is that we as professional women, I think we are a subset of entrepreneurs. And I say that because we have, many times we have high income jobs, careers, and those they afford us the opportunity to get help at an earlier stage in our business, because many times we're multitasking. We are still working while we're building the business. I was still working at the point when I was working on building this business and building this brand. And by continuing to really work full time, I was able to allot money to put into my business so that I didn't have to do everything. And so I like to call us pink collar entrepreneurs, because we're in the white collar world, but that affords us the opportunity to pour into our business, whereas some people can't do that.
And you know what? I tell Mom, a lot of our listeners are actually professional moms who are also are thinking about either quitting their job, going to entrepreneurship full time, or some of us like me, like I tell people all the time, listen, I plan to be a multimillionaire. I'm not ashamed to say that, but I would still be a cardiologist because I love my job,
Right.
But I will be practicing on my own terms.
Exactly.
Which is what.
Yes.
Go ahead.
That's the freedom. That's the freedom part of it. And that's when you're able to love what you do. So many people, we didn't become doctors to get burnt out and quit medicine. We just are burnt out because we're doing it on somebody else's terms.
If y'all could see me right now.
We still love it.
Right.
I honestly believe medicine is a calling. I don't believe you can get through medical school, internship, residency, fellowship if you are not called to do that. You won't make it. And so the fact that we have this number of people who had the dedication, who had the fortitude to go through all of that and to get to your career and say, I'm burnt out. No, you're not burnt out. You just need to call the shots, because many times we like control.
We're very controlling, and that's okay.
We are.
You have to have self-awareness, right? You have to have self-awareness to know, to be able to own on to that. Like, being a controlling person can be a positive in certain things. You just have to know where it's not a positive and try not to use it in that place. And you being a professional, like I've heard so many people want to start a business. 2 years later, they're still thinking about it because they quote unquote don't have time, right? I think when you're you can start slow. And I tell people this all the time and they laugh at me. I'm like, yo, I wake up every morning at 4:30 and I work on my business for 1 hour a day. That's it. It may be slow, but you best believe if I was doing this full time, I would be way more than where I am. But if I had still been waiting, I would not be where I am today.
Right. You got to take a step. And oftentimes when I'm on podcasts or people ask me to speak, one of the things I always say is there is no too busy. There is no too broke. There is no too dumb. There is no too old. The only thing there is too scared. That's why you're not doing it. You're afraid. Fear has killed more dreams than anything else. And so once you decide you're no longer going to let fear determine what you do or you don't do, the other things fall away and you get it done.
Right, right. You have to have the audacity to know who
Yes.
you are, the audacity to know that I'm a queen. I actually
Yes.
did a pitch for something the other day, long story, but I was like, I was actually nervous, kind of like you, that pitch comes, and I was like, I can't go on the stage, nobody knows me, and I was like, and then like I swear, like I really do think that heaven opened up and God spoke to me, and it was like, your name is Lola Day, which means the wealthy one is here. Okay, and wealthy, my
Yes.
language means happiness, hope, brave. Like
I
everything.
love
Like I
it.
was like, I need you to lift your head up high and go ahead and give that pitch.
Yes.
It- as women, you're a professional, right? Imposter syndrome needs to take a back seat.
Yes.
You're doing good in
Yes.
whatever it is you're doing. And that's why I love Dr. Anika's story, because she was still working a busy eye surgeon. Okay. So it wasn't like someone who, had like a specific time, or 2 days a week or one day a week. She was still doing it full time, but she
Hmm.
knew she wanted to go for this, and she went for that. Speaking of that, though, we know that business is not always rosy. Were there any time in your journey where you've been like, what the heck did I get myself into?
At least once a day, at least once a day, every day. I'll tell you, especially again, as a professional who many times I'm calling the shots. It's tough for me. Your business is like your baby. And
Mhm.
so when you bring out your newborn baby, the last thing you want someone to tell you is that your baby is ugly, or that your baby has no hair. You don't want people to ridicule or pick apart your baby, but everybody will not love your product, your service, your whatever it is. There are going to be people who absolutely do not like it. And those are the hardest days for me. Those are the hardest days for me. I am a pleaser. I like to, again, I do everything I do, I'm doing it as well as I can, because
Right.
I want my patient or whoever it is to be pleased with that outcome. And so that's the hardest part of business for me, is knowing that as you spread yourself out there, as you put yourself out there, and more and more and more people come into contact with your business and your brand, there will be people who don't like it, who will say negative things about it. And those are the most difficult days for me.
And how have you handled those?
My customer service team does not let me see things. Because it's personal to me, because this is
Yeah.
me. Like, I pour myself into this. I always say, people are like, oh no, these are just lashes, you can get them from Alibaba, those aren't my lashes.
Right.
So it's a process for me. I have chosen these lashes. I've chosen these styles. I have created things for people who many times weren't ever even thought about when it came to beauty solutions. And so when I create something, and then I think I don't put it out there unless it's the best that I can do. I'm
Right.
not putting it out there unless I think this is the best I can do. Nothing comes to you guys until I've tried it. Usually I've sent some to Dr. Sand and she's tried it, that kind of thing. So it's all my sisters, my niece. And so when I put it out there for it not to be always accepted, it hurts. It hurts. And so my customer service team just totally shields me from that. And so I don't know what's going on. In my little rose-colored glasses, everything's wonderful.
And it's perfect. And you know what? Your people are your people. Like,
Yes.
I have learned that not everybody will like me. That's okay.
Right.
When you go to the water aisle, there's Aquafina, there's Dasani, there's whatever. The people who love your lashes love your lashes. Like me, I was
Right.
actually never a lash person, because I
Mhm.
just didn't like that heavy feel. Like,
I
even
hate
for
it.
my wedding, I was just
Yes.
not like, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to take. And let me tell you, the first thing I did when we got in the hotel room was like, I took that mess up real fast, and I've tried your lashes and they're so comfortable and I just love them. And I just also love the fact that you think about the everyday woman. One of
Mhm.
the lash, and I don't even know if you even still have it available, so maybe I shouldn't say it, was the one for the GI Joes, the
Yes.
army girls.
That's a seasonal one. So it'll come back. Well, it'll be back next year for the 4th. It's just not when we carry year round. But I actually had someone in the military write me and ask me for that. They asked me to create something that they could wear comfortably in uniform. And I absolutely was going to do that. So that was how I created a lash that wasn't too much, not too long, something that would look amazing and very natural on them. Same thing with the spectacle collection. I had ladies saying, I need some lashes I can wear with glasses. And I didn't think it would be popular. And I remember saying, but people don't want short lashes. And there were people who said, yes, we do.
Yes,
it's one of our best-selling collections. Yes. It's one of our best-selling collections now. So there have been so many women who don't necessarily want the same level of beauty that other women who aren't professionals, who aren't necessarily constantly being looked at and judged. Because, if we walked into a room with eyelashes out looking like a pachyderm, how are our patients going to take us seriously, honestly?
Okay. Yes. And that's one thing I liked about the one I have. Like, I could wear it and it just looks like I was naturally blessed.
Exactly. That's the whole point of it. I want us to be able to feel our most confident. And many times we feel the most confident when we feel the most beautiful. That's why your wedding day is so special. There are very few times where you feel as beautiful, as close to perfect than on your wedding day. And so there's a reason that day is special and you never forget it. And I think that we can create that situation on any day. And we want to always go in to work, whatever your position is, feeling like you own it. I own it.
And there's one word my mom always says, like, you have to, and I don't know how to translate it, because you know how like languages are different when you translate, but it's basically like the way you present yourself is the way people would treat your children. You know, and as women, like, let me tell, I'm like you, Dr. Anika. I don't wear, all I do is foundation and maybe a little mascara. And I don't even do lipstick, like nice shiny lip gloss pop. Yep. I'm good to go, But the way I do it, you best believe you will know the doctor is in the house.
Amen. Amen. You know who just walked into the room, okay? Right. The only thing you don't know is what last name you need to call me Dr.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's so amazing. And I always say, like I said, not everybody is going to like what you do, and that's just life. You know, like you're not good enough if everybody likes you. Like there has to be somebody that doesn't like you. Right. So what are some highs? Like, so now those are some of the lows. What are some of the highs of your business as you've started?
My first sale. I remember my first sale. That was huge because you put it out there and you don't know how it's going to be received. I remember my first sale. I remember my first 5-figure month. I remember my first 6-figure month. I remember hitting 7 figures. And the irony of it is I hit my first 5-figure month on my own birthday. Yes, I crossed the 7-figure mark on my baby girl's birthday. And I just closed on our first commercial property that we're going to turn into our fulfillment center. And we found out that we won the bid on the day my dad passed away 7 years ago. So many big things have happened on such significant days. Right. That's why I know that none of this is by chance. None of this is by chance.
Now, none of it. That is so fantastic. And I told you earlier, I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy. Like, guys, like, we're like in a mini mastermind. That's what I'll call our group. We're not going to put it up there. It's a mini mastermind where we just kind of encourage each other. And to see Dr. Anika go from I have this vision. I'm putting this out there, and to where she's at is so encouraging. And I want every single mom, and this is why I do this podcast, to let you know it is possible. Yes. Okay. What advice would you give busy mom that are listening right now, still contemplating, like, can I do this? Is it even possible?
I'm so glad you brought this up. I did not know what was possible until I joined the mastermind that I mentioned. And so my advice to them is you need to be around people who are doing the thing that you want to do at various stages, because those people understand. They're going to encourage you. They're going to pour into you. You're going to pour into them, because this journey is not easy. There's going to be ups and downs. So it's wonderful to have people to celebrate with you or to help problem solve with you all along that journey. And so invest in yourself by whether it be a mastermind, small group coaching, whatever it is, invest in yourself so that you are in an atmosphere that will allow you to grow. Plants grow best when they are put into the appropriate environment. And the same thing with your dream. So if your dream is just with you and you're not pouring anything into it, you're not spending any time on it, then it's not in fertile soil. It's not going to grow. It wasn't until I put myself in amongst this group of people who were doing it and doing it successfully that I really started to know what was possible and what it takes to get there.
That is so awesome, because another thing I hear moms talk about it, and they talk about some other moms that hadn't made it. I'm like, but what about the other 90% that did make it? That's know? And that's invest in people like you, right? Like, it's, yes, different masterminds are great, but it's good if your pain point is, I just don't have time, go seek out other moms that are doing it.
That's right. Because someone's doing it.
Right. Someone is doing it. So, and do that. I think that is so important. Research the mastermind.
Absolutely.
Don't be scared to say, can I have a one-on-one with you? Right. Talk to them. Make sure, because I see a lot of coaching out there. Yeah. Make sure that you have the appropriate one that, you feel led to. Because when you know. Like Dr. Anika said earlier, she was there. She sat in that chair and she was like, I'm joining this mastermind because there was something in there that connected with her. So that is very, very important.
Absolutely.
One other thing I want to ask you is that, so we've talked about your journey and everything. What productivity thing did you have in place for your business? Did you have a specific time you did it, or like, how were you able to grow this business and still have your medical practice going?
So I'm divorced and I'm remarried, and my ex-husband and I have shared custody. And so the way we have set up our custody schedule is he has them for a week and I have them for a week. Okay. And so those weeks when they were with their dad, I literally could get up and work on the business, go to work, and then come home, and my evenings were mine. It didn't matter if I ate a bowl of cereal. It was just me, me and the puppy. And so I was really able to focus and pour in work during those times. And so that's really how I got it done. If your situation, I hope, is different and you are in a situation where your husband's there helping with the kids, talk to your significant other about what you want to do and let them know what you're willing to sacrifice for it, and ask them for their buy-in to help you do it. Maybe they give you 3 nights a week that they get the kids ready for bed and to bed so that you can have that extra time. And the only thing I'll say about that is, if they're willing to give it to you, don't waste it. Don't squander that time. Do something, make some forward movement, because as they see you having wins and things really coming into fruition, they're going to be even more willing to take stuff off your plate because they want to see you keep winning.
That is awesome. The last part you said is so important, right? Like, remember, guys, when we spoke earlier, we said focus on your vision and focus on your genius aspect. Don't spend 4 hours doing thumbnails on YouTube.
Right. Exactly.
You know, if you don't have time, focus on the most important thing. Maybe that's why you need to craft your plan.
That's right.
Look through your vision. Start thinking of the idea for your product. So, you know, those things that needs you, that without you would not move forward.
That's right.
That's what you should be using that time for. Another thing I tell moms is that think of time as money. Okay.
Yes.
If you're an executive right now and you get paid $200 an hour, okay? Let's say Dr. Anika gets paid $1,000 an hour just because she's fly, okay? She just paid $4,000 doing a thumbnail when she could have paid someone $40 on Fiverr to do it.
Thank you. This may or may not be someone that you're familiar with, but if it's not, please go and look her up. Her name is Janice Howroyd Bryant. She's one of the first she's one of the first Black women to own a $1 billion business. Billion with a B dollar business. And I had the pleasure of hearing her speak at a business conference. And one of the things she said is, you don't spend your time, you invest it. And as soon as you realize that time is something you invest, and anything you invest, you expect to get a return on, you will use your time more wisely.
That, guys, that was a LollieTasking gem right there. That was this is when I found this out, Dr. Anika, this is what LollieTasking is all about. You know, guys, you've heard my story. If you listen to my podcast, you've heard my story. I was doing too much, but not doing what mattered.
Yes.
Until I realized that I was not investing my time. I wasn't using my time in a valuable way. And that right there can change the game for you, ladies.
Change it completely.
And when I realized the secret sauce, I was like, I got to let my sisters know. You know, and that's why I created LollieTasking. And that's why it's such a passion for me. Because I know if you know how valuable your time is, then you could create wealth. Then you can leave a legacy for your children. Then there's so many possibilities that you ladies have. So I don't ever want you to think I can do it. It's not me. You don't know my situation. You can make it work. Okay. So we have been talking for a while and we could keep going, man.
Yes, we could.
It's been so amazing. So I just want to ask you one last business question before we go to the wrap-up question. If there was one thing about business you wish you knew when you started, what would it be?
Wow. That growth is a choice. Growth is a choice.
Yep.
This business has grown so quickly. We've had so many growing pains. And if some of those times I had chosen to slow down versus step on the gas, then I would have had an easier time. I think I made some things hard for myself by choosing growth when I should have been choosing, I'm going to slow down, create systems and processes, and then grow. So growth is a choice in your business.
I love that. And when you have your systems and processes, it makes it a lot much easier.
Yes. I was literally making my own life difficult by choosing to keep revving the engine when I did not have a solid enough foundation.
Right.
And so when you realize that growth is a choice and I can choose to do it, or I can choose at certain times to stop, get my foundation, and then have more efficient growth. That was a game changer for me.
I absolutely agree with that. I talk about this thing about the importance of rest, reflect, and refocus.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I talk about it in like just your family life, and the more you're talking, I'm like, you know what? We need to put that in business too.
That's right.
You have to put a stopgap. Okay, so we've been going for 3 months now, maybe every quarter. Take a week off, stop, reflect. Do we want to keep growing? Do we want to stop? Do some course correction.
Yes.
I just got okay, Dr. Anika, thank you.
It's true, though. It's really, really true. So next week, because we're about to go into 2021, we are going to take some time and not focus on the right now, the Christmas holiday and all those things, and start focusing on next year. We will be planning our Christmas next year starting next week. So we're choosing not to just go full force for this entire month. We're taking some time to start planning for next year to make things easier for ourselves. So you have there's times that are go, but there's times that are wait, pause.
Silla.
Yes.
Pause and reflect. That is fantastic. That is so fantastic. All right, so let's go on to our wrap-up question. Okay. And this is more like productivity, mommy hacks, and stuff like that, okay?
Yep. Okay.
So what is one actionable tip you would give a mom in business? We talked a lot about things like, I'm talking, girl, until I had my planner, or girl, until I started doing laundry on Friday nights. Just like one actionable tip. And in your case, it may even be for someone who's divorced too. Like, what is one tip you can give that would just make your life so much easier?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I will say the one thing that made it easier for me, because a lot of my ideas have been so big, was writing things down, like physically writing them down. This is old school, don't laugh. I have a 5-subject notebook, like old school 5-subject notebook. And each of the sections I dedicated to an idea that I had that I wanted to work on. And I would sit down during my time that I took for my business before I actually launched my business, and I would start to flesh out what this needed, what it would take to get it launched, what I had already done, what I could do myself, what I would need help with. And I basically made it into small steps that I could accomplish instead of looking at it as one big task that I felt like I could never do. I think that changed the game for me. And so I still have that 5-subject notebook upstairs in my room because there's some ideas I haven't launched. But guess what? At some point, I'll have this business able to run more without me, and then I can go back, and I've already done a lot of the foundational work for some of these other ideas. So take it back old school and write things out. Write down small bits. Yes.
We have to write. There's so many ideas that we have. I mean, there's sometimes I'll be in the shower, the idea will pop up as soon as I get I'm like, let me write this down real quick. And now I actually have a notes section on my iPhone.
Me too.
I just put it in there.
Yes. But sometimes it helps me to have that paper and that pen and sketch it out. And to go back, I can go back into ideas I haven't touched in a while and still see kind of my thought process. So do that. Even if you don't do anything else but that, get a notebook and start to plan it out for right now. That is huge.
That is fantastic. And how do you balance life with you being a mom of 2 and being married? How do you balance all of that and a boss? Okay, let's not forget that part. You're a boss. You're a physician. You have 2 children.
Yes.
I know you say, they're with you for a week, but the week they're with you, right?
They're with me.
How do you balance
I try to fold them in. I try to really engage them in the business. I don't see it as the business, the girls, they're involved in every part of it. So, and they have been from the beginning, from the time I started working on it, creating things. I would let them try things out with
How
me.
old are your girls again?
I have a 16 and a half year old
That's a
and one
good
who just
age.
turned 11. One who just turned
These are
11.
great ages. Yeah.
And, since I have girls, they're into kind of, the girly stuff, beauty stuff anyway. And so I made them a part of it. And when I first started shipping orders, I let them have tasks that they help me with. So they feel a part of it. It doesn't feel like, oh, mommy's working on her business, because they're a part of it too. So
bring them in.
Yes, try, and my husband too. So I try to make that. There's sometimes where we're all down here in the basement working on things together for the business, or we take a break and go eat something together, or whatever. So make everybody feel like they're a part of it. It's not just yours.
That's awesome. I love that. And that's why, guys, Jamie is back giving the intro of LollieTasking, getting her involved. That's my baby Mimi. So, yes. So what is your favorite quote? We love quotes here. What's your favorite quote?
My favorite quote is probably, it's not a quote really, it's a Bible verse.
I love
and
it.
When I graduated from high school, I'll never forget this, I still have this card. It was a good friend of my mom's gave me this card, and it was Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. And I'll tell you, that card got me through college, medical school, residency. When it was hard, I went back to, but he knows the plan for me. And that just got me through so much, that one card. And I don't know if she ever knew how much that meant to me, and how that really spoke to me when things were really, really difficult, because I had to keep coming back to, but God has a plan for me. This is not just about me.
There has to be a plan,
Yes.
like you said it. So it is what it is.
It is.
Oh,
and so I'm supposed to be here doing this.
I love it. It has been so great talking to you, Dr. Anika.
Thank you for having me.
I just love it. Can you please tell people how they can get a hold of you and how they can get this fantastic eyelash that we've been raving about? Like, we didn't even talk about how amazing this lash is, y'all. Like, let me just give a little spiel, okay? I have never, besides my wedding day, wear eyelash, okay? But I was so inspired by Dr. Anika. I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it. And I bought it. If all me can try an eyelash and like it, like, you could understand. And I got one that was like really fancy that I'm still yet to wear. Because it's been Corona, so I haven't been to any Nigerian parties. You guys know how we love to have our parties. So that one is specifically for that, and I have the regular one that I could wear whenever. OpulenceMD is, it's so amazing, and I'm not just saying that because she's here. Because you guys know me, I just won't say anything if it wasn't good. So I really need you guys to go get it. So please tell us how they can get a hold. Well, if they wanted to contact you, how they can contact you, and if they wanted to get our eyelash hour. You see how I said hour? If you wanted to get the eyelashes, how you can get it. And I also know you have a treat for our people.
Yes, I do. So you can find me at Dr. Anika MD on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. You can find the lashes at Opulent Lash Life on all social media platforms. And you can shop at OpulenceMDBeauty.com. That's OpulenceMDBeauty.com. And we have something for everyone, whether you are very conservative or you are super glam. We even have nude liners for women who just like a little understated pop. Something which really try to think of everyone. So check us out and use the code OPULENCE15 for 15% off.
That is fantastic. You're going to like it. Let me tell you right now, when you get there, you may just want to get one. And by the time you see all of them, you may be like me and be like, oh, let me just get another one just in case, you know? So go ahead and get it. It's been so fantastic talking to you, Dr. Anika. We really appreciate you being. Is there any last words you wanted to give before we round up?
I'm just so excited to be here. And if you have something in your mind, do it. Do not let fear win. Do it. And if I can help in any way at all, I'm still learning myself, but I'm absolutely willing to share whatever I have.
That is fantastic. Do it like Nike, y'all. Just do it.
Just do it.
Better like one of the, I don't even know if this is a Chinese proverb. I don't know why I want to call it a Chinese proverb, but it said the best time to get anything done or to plant a tree was like 10 years ago. The next best time is now. Just do it. And, you know, God has had a plan for you and He knows your future and He will make it happen.
Yes,
With that being said, thank you guys so much for joining us for another inspiring episode of LollieTasking. We will have all Dr. Anika's information in our show notes below, and you can contact us at www.lollietasking.com. Also, we'll have all that information on there. And please don't forget to follow us at LollieTasking on IG, and do leave us a wonderful Apple review so many wonderful ladies can hear about this podcast. Till next time, remember, you can do it too with some planning, a little bit of balance, and a dash of determination. Have a nice day, guys. Bye.
Hello, LollieTaskers. Thanks for hanging out with me on another inspiring episode of Bossing, Mommy, and LollieTasking. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. What was your favorite part? Or what was your aha moment? I would love to hear all about it. If you also have any questions or topics you'd like for me to discuss, please feel free to contact me via www.LollieTasking.com. I have a question for you though. Have you subscribed already? If not, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and click that subscribe button, share this episode with a friend, and leave a great review on iTunes. These things allow other moms to see the show and connect with us as well. Till next time, this is LollieTasking.